how to build a 3D product configurator in Playcanvas. I want to show you step by step how you can do it and have a ready 3D product configurator to implement in your e-commerce in just few steps and few minutes. So first thing that we need to do is, after you purchase the template here, you can import in Playcanvas in the import project. Then once imported, I already imported, so all the project will be loaded in Playcanvas. Well, you need to activate the license key. To activate the license key, go to launch and then paste here your license key and validate your key. Once your license key is being validated, you can close this tab and you can finally configure your product. So the first thing that we need to do, actually the second after activating the license key, is to import our model. So I'm going to import my model here, and I will use the same model that I used last time. This is basically update of the video that I did last time, because I made so many updates in configurator and I added some cool feature like an editor. So I want you to show from the beginning how you can set everything. And I'm going to import my model here. Playcanvas will generate all the models that we need. So in this case, we have all our models. I'm putting in the list view. And here we have all the render and then the texture. So I like to be organized, and it's better for you if you do it. So I'm going to select all this texture here, click the first one, and then all of these texture in textures. Then I'm going to do the same with materials. So I'm going to select every materials and move it to materials. Okay, now everything is almost ready. And of course, if you have the 3D model and your 3D designer can just give you the materials directly separated from the models and the texture, that would be amazing. So I'm going to do some edits here, but it will be very easy. So first of all, we have all the main materials, because this is a GLB model, so it has already some materials in it. And we need to adjust the variation, which is like the black variation. So I have the material for the red variation, and I'm going just to, as you're going to see here, rename this so it's easier later to find this in the editor, and I'm going to show you in a while. So now what we want to do is basically duplicate all of these parts and these materials. So I'm going to duplicate the center one, I'm going to duplicate the right one, and I'm going to duplicate the left one. And then what I want to do is to import my texture. At the moment I'm importing in this folder, but then I will move them in the other folder just for being more practice. And I'm going to rename this black, and I'm going to pass center black here in the diffuse. Well, as you can see, we have the black one. So we had the black one. I move this to the texture because I don't need anymore. Then I do the same things for the right side. So black, and I'm going to diffuse. Perfect. Then moving into texture. And then I'm going to do the same for the right part. Black. Add to the diffuse, and then move it to the texture. As I told you, like, it's better if you have already everything, and must have, like, it's very important if you can name it, all the materials and the model part, very good, like can be done in this site. And then we have the texture here. We don't need to do anything. And you can upload your UI. So if you have some, for example, you want to put image as the variable, then you can upload the UI. Now, the third step that we need to do is to enable our editor and then configure our product. So I'm going here to editor, as you can see, and enable this checkbox. Then I'm going to launch it. And as you can see, I have a different screen from before, and I can start building. So I have detected the app detected the 3D models, the materials, and the UI, and I can start the configuration. So I'm going to name my configuration sofa. And then as you can see, we have 3 different panels. In the left panels, you have all the 3D parts of your object, the materials, and all the images. Of course, here we'll detect all the images, so all the textures. So best practice, if you're going to upload some UI images, give them a good name and then you can just search. The center part, instead, we're going to add the steps and the group option, which are the options that I will show you. And then here we can edit the variation of each options. So what we want to do is add the first step. The first step that we're going to add, I'm going to name it sofa parts. And I want to add here the default part, which is the central part that the user will never be able to edit or hide. So I'm going to call central cushions. And as you can see, I have now the variation here. I'm going to show you in the video like all of these parts, what they mean and how you can use it. So keep watching. And the first thing that we want to show, so being this a default part, when you have only one variation here, so you do not add another variation, the app will not show this option. I'm going to show you. So here, the default, I want to show the meshes, which are the 3D parts, and which is the center cushion, of course, the center leg right here, and then we want the center table. We have 2 tables here, so I'm going to show here. And so this is the first thing. As you can see, I'm going to show you a preview. So here, because of the model is basically come with all the visible part and already the meshes applied because it's a GLB model. No, but what I want to show you here is that it's not visible the group option. If I'm going to, for example, duplicate this option and I'm going to preview again, the option will be visible. Okay, so that's very important when you want to set some defaults. I'm going to delete this for now. Now, what I want to do is to be able to give the customer the possibility to add a left side or a right side or both. So I'm going to call this right cushion, and then I'm going to add here the variation. So by default, I want that the cushions is not visible. So I'm going to add no, and I'm going to show the meshes and hide the meshes. So here, because it's no, we have to hide the meshes of the right part. So in this case, I'm going the right part, and I'm going to hide the right cushions, right leg, right side cup, and the right side table. So we have the option here. We can duplicate to have a yes part. And in this case, we're going to show the right cushion and right legs. Now, I'm going to still keep the cup and the side table hidden because I want them to as an option that I will implement later. So I'm going to preview. As you can see, this part is not visible. So I'm going to click yes, and this part will be visible. That's very simple. Now, as I told you, I want this right side cup and side table that can be, implemented as accessories. So for example, I will do that. I will duplicate this because the meshes are already in. I will first of all rename this part. In this case, I will write cushion table. And what I'm going to do here is to, first of all, the no. So we'll just keep hidden the table, the right side table. And the yes, instead, I'm going to do like this. It's going to show this one. So again, for example, I want the custom table to be able to be visible only when the user select yes, because of course, for logic, the user need to have the right part to visualize the right cushion. How to do that? Well, you have two options here. You can set this right cushion table as sub option. And so in this case, I'm going to preview and show you. When I click yes, I will have the cushion table option. But I can click yes and no to see this option. Or you have a second option. I'm going to remove this from here. And I'm going to add a visibility rule here. So I'm clicking on this eye, and I'm going to add the visibility rule that when the right cushion is yes, well, then say Bruce, I'm going to preview, and I'm going to click yes, and the right cushion will appear right below. So that's the thing. Now, I'm going to do here also the same thing for the cup and the left side. So I'll just bring it on and so duplicate this for the cups, and then to this. Okay, and I'm going to also link it as a nested option here. So as you can see, I'm going to yes, and two options will appear. Right cushion cup, I can say yes, and as you can see, it's visible, and the table, yes. Okay. Maybe I want to link also the table as a nest, so I will just bring it here as nest option, and right here. Okay, so we had the first part configured. Now I can continue and configure also the second part, which is the left side. but I want to go on and show you another feature actually. So I can add a step, and after I add this step, I can name it color, and then I'm going to add a group option. So here for the colors, we have different methods that we can use. So we can, for example, adjust the color for all the sofa or for just like one part of the sofa. For example, I want the sofa to be red and black, but all of it, not just, the part of center, left, and right. So I'm going to name it sofa colors. In this case, what I want to do here is we have a default option and we want to drag what part of the sofa should be of that color. So for example, the center cushion and the left cushion and the right cushion. I'm going to add default, which is the red. So I'm going to go to materials and just add the red. Okay, so I had the red cushion here, and then I'm going to do the same for the black part. I'm going to drop here, and I'm going to preview. So we have two steps, as you can see, and we're going to red, black. As you can see, the colors will be visible. Of course, you can play with it. And for example, you can show this variation always with the visibility rule. So when the right cushion is yes, then we'll have the color black. For example, you can see here we have the color black. If I set no, we have just the color red. That's it. And the last piece for the editor is we can add thumbnails. So if you have images, as I was saying, so let's say here you have the images and you can just simply drag and drop your image and going to preview, and you will have, for example, the image here. In this case, I can just do it for color actually. So if you have like red, we're going to paste here red. If we have black, well, that's black. I'm going to show you the preview. Of course, we have the visibility rule still active here. As you can see, it's active, so we have to edit the rule, save it, and then preview. And we have red and black. So the last step that you need to do for complete your configuration, you can save and copy this JSON file or even export the JSON file. So once you save and copy, you come back to this Playcanvas screen and you go to data. As you can see here, there is already a product JSON. So you can just double click on this and you can paste it. And once you paste it, if you're on Mac, you can Command S or Control S on Windows. You can save it or you can go to File and save it. So I save it. And then before to export, you go to Editor. Always remember this. Disable this checkbox. Launch to confirm your configuration. And as you can see, our configuration is ready to make the build and to implement on our website. How we do that? We simply go here, publish and download. We go to download zip, and after we download zip, we download again, and we download again here. So we have our zip, and we have to just basically unzip this file. And once we unzip this file, I don't know if you can see, But once you unzip this file, basically you have to import all these files in your hosting. And once you import your file in your hosting, well, you'll be ready to implement a configurator in your e-commerce. I already made a video about WooCommerce integration, which is actually almost the same as Shopify, and you can watch it right here.